Okay, so now we're going to talk about the ages 3 to 4. And again, you will find most of the information you need in the document, which lists all the developmental achievement we expect from children across those 5 main lines. You would also find more detailed description of what we expect and recommend to do with these children in a special document which lists some methodological recommendation for teachers on how to work with this age group. Let's just very quickly think about what we in London Gates might want these children to be able to do. So we'd like them to know basic rituals, and to know which language each teacher speaks, which is quite a difficult construct. This idea of bilingual perception, which we are fostering and developing, is an association of one person with one language. And please stick to it yourself and make sure everybody around sticks to it, because it becomes incredibly confusing for children if one person starts mixing two languages. It might be easier for you in the short run and easier for the child in the short run, but in the long term, you would not do anyone any favors. It will make things much worse and much more difficult. And they will experience your refusal to talk to them in a language that they understand as an attack and something negative you are doing to them intentionally, which is obviously the last thing we want them to learn. Relatively few things which are worth talking about in this age group, which you would not find in our developmental documents. One of them is a feature of their emotional development, and it is that they're getting emotionally tired very, very quickly. What does it mean to become emotionally tired? It's a very quick change of moods and very quick loss of capacity to control oneself. So you might have a 3-year-old or a 3.5 who would come and be perfectly structured, very active, very happy, and then boom, all of a sudden they're in tears. Or boom, all of a sudden they're running around the classroom. This is okay, they're just tired. The thing is, they're not just tired physically, they're tired emotionally, because in order to control your own emotions, which in their case, and for them it's very difficult, and it's a new kind of skill that they're gradually acquired, it's very hard for them to sustain this state. So do not be surprised. Do not tell them off. It's something which is developmentally appropriate, can and should be expected. And it's important also to understand that it's not only negative emotions we're talking about. If a child is running around and is being very excited and very happy, they can get tired from being excited. They can be tired also from being very happy. They might just need some time with very low-key, very kind of non-emotionally stimulating activity. It's absolutely fine if you see that one child is doing this. It's okay to kind of even maybe take them out and have a little bit of a walk in the corridor if you see they're overwhelmed. If you see the entire classroom is tired, and sometimes they get pretty much tired at the same time, bring the pace down. Don't kind of rush them into more activity. Don't try to kind of reignite them. Give them some time to calm down, have kind of a low level of stimulation, and then you can give them more emotional experiences which they'll be ready to and they'll appreciate. And another thing which is happening across the behavioral, social development of them, they start kind of generating emerging gender identification, but behaviorally what they would do, they might actively explore other people's genitalia. And this is okay. It's something which freaks out most teachers who don't have experience of working with this age group. These kids might go and try and touch your private areas, women's breasts, the private areas of their peers, They will be doing it every now and then because they are curious. It's okay. They're not growing up to be little perverts. Don't worry. Now, the thing is, you need to respond to this very, very gently and tentatively. Do not shout at them. Don't tell them off, because many people do just that. They give a very strong and very negative and very kind of harsh response to that. At this point, what you do, you can actually ask them and tell them, this is not how we do it. These are my private parts, or this is his private parts. We never touch them. You need to be very clear and strict, but not angry. These are rules. They are curious. They want to know. They don't have those bodily social boundaries which you and I have. Those boundaries are developing. Again, it's also another developmental achievement. Let's help them make it, and make it in a positive way rather than by being terrified of some external reaction. An important thing to understand about 3-year-olds that they are entering a so-called 3-year-old crisis. In psychology we have a crisis for every year, and 3-year-olds are not an exception. This might actually start a little bit earlier than 3 and might linger for a bit longer. The feature of it is, I want to do it myself. And if you think about it, it's not such a crisis, and it's not such a bad thing. The problem is they want to do themselves much more than they can, because they don't have a clear objective assessment of their capacities. The next time you would get a crisis which is just like that is in adolescence, who will also say, I want to do it myself, I don't need you parents, and they also don't know always how to properly assess their own capacities, abilities, and limitations. What you need to do is, and the children might become very, very stubborn around this, and very refusing and to stick to something, saying no. Do not try to break their will. It's okay if they want to do something on their own, and they can, give it to them. If they want to do something on their own and they can't, help them to succeed in doing this. If they want to do something on their own which is dangerous or inappropriate, this is obviously a time which we set the boundaries and say, no, we don't do that. Actually, there is another interesting element in this, and the reason why they get into this crisis, because they're gradually moving into this cycle of separation, individuation. Because in the beginning, in the first year of life, and then they're very linked and completely dependent on their primary caregivers. And this dependency is actually a little bit terrifying when your entire existence depends on somebody else. So what they're trying to do is to achieve more control, more independence, and more self-reliance by gradually separating, at least physically, on a very basic level from their parents, to show themselves that they can be independent agents, and actually something in this universe is actually dependent on them, and they have some sort of capacity to cause some sort of change. So this is why it's very important to help them to do that, because we don't want them to be completely addicted to their parents when they can be more self-reliant and more independent. And this is pretty much it for this age group.